Money Vikings, welcome back. Thanks for joining me on this walk. I wanted to go over some of my personal finance mistakes. So I'm going to go over three big ones that I've made over the years, because we all know that, first of all, life is certainly not a success-only journey. It's complicated, isn't it? And we all face challenges. That apparently just seems to be part of the human condition. Some of us more challenges than others, of course, and some of them we have no control over. Some of them we bring upon ourselves, of course, and others are maybe a little bit of half and half. We kind of bring them on ourselves, but maybe we're not totally in control, right? Kind of as you go through life, you realize, there's that famous circle where in the center of the circle are the things you can control, which is typically your response and your attitude. That's probably, and I shouldn't even say we can always control that, because sometimes if we have health problems or imbalances of some kind, it's even hard to control our response to things. But in general, we probably have some control over our response to our environment. We can stop as we get the stimuli and we get the information. We can try to develop techniques and tools as we get older to calm ourselves and to think through the issue. Ask ourselves, is it really the end of the world? Is it something we can manage? But that's probably the smallest circle right there. There's a circle outside of that, if you drew a picture, where there's things that we can influence, right? And we probably have, influence over our environment in some ways through the choices we make and the things we say and the things we eat and the things we do and our habits that we develop, and trying to self-improve, trying to do self-improvement, trying to be better. That's a lot of what Money Vikings is about. It's about, techniques and tools so we can try to be better people and just be stronger and more effective. And then there's this bigger circle that's probably the biggest one, and that's stuff we can't control. None of us can control really, world affairs or economies. We don't seem to control what family we're born into or what country we're born into. I mean, right away, that puts a person at an advantage or disadvantage. A person's pretty lucky if they're born into a loving family in the United States, right? Right off the bat, you've probably kind of won the lottery right there with having a nurturing family. Don't even have to necessarily be wealthy, but to have a nurturing family that cares and to be born in the United States are two big ones. So anyway, the point of all that is that, yes, it's not a success-only journey, life, and neither is investing or personal finance and building wealth. That is riddled with challenges and mistakes that we make, and I have made a few. So my top one, I would say, was in terms of just pure investing, was investing in some penny stocks at one point. And, it's one of these things where I would say so it's okay to have a little bit of fun money that we talk about and a little bit of really high risk on money. And so if you've got, 90% of your assets in, balanced index funds, and you have diversified assets, you have real estate investment trusts and all kinds of stuff like that. And if you want to take 10% and you can control yourself and manage your emotions and quote unquote gamble, it's not really well, it might be gambling, but whatever you want to call it, then that's fine. And that's what I did. It took a small amount, but it was still a mistake at the end of the day, because I would have been better off taking that money and just throwing it in an index fund. I should have thought about it a little more carefully and thought to myself, what, it seems too good to be true. It probably is. And the penny stocks, I have to say, some of them are penny stocks for a reason. There's a reason that Wall Street and investors haven't picked up on them and have not purchased a lot of the shares or been that interested, because something just seems off or wrong with the business model. So anyway, that was my number. That was one over the years. Number two is patience. We really have to develop some kind of patience as investors, because I just don't think there's a magical day that we wake up and all of our problems are solved in life or as investors. We have to kind of manage things along the way. Now, as we build wealth, I think things do get easier, as you pay off a home and get your mortgage down, as you build investment accounts, things do get easier, I think. over the long run, but it's not an instantaneous thing. It takes patience. You really have to cultivate patience. You don't buy an investment property and then instantly, you're a millionaire and you're making tons of passive cash flow. There's a lot of time and years that go into building all that. So being impatient at times was definitely something that I probably, there's probably some investments that sold too early or sold at a loss that I probably just should have waited, and probably would have been fine. So that's the second one. Number 3 is, it's about cutting costs. We live in a consumer society, for better, for worse. We can talk about the pros and cons of that. But at the end of the day, we have to really have some kind of control over our consumption, because we are constantly bombarded with buy signals. Constantly. There's just constant, we're surrounded by people with shiny things. And the thing is, we all have different shiny things. And we can't have, most of us can't have all the shiny things. So, I've had to really take a hard look at the budget and where am I spending money where I should really be a little more prudent and frugal and practical. I'm not into austerity for austerity's sake. I'm into frugality, but frugality is not being cheap. Frugality is about putting money and your capital in its highest priority order for you, okay? For your priorities. We talk a lot about collectibles on this channel. For somebody, there might be people out there that don't like traveling, let's say. But, the idea of going on a couple of trips every year and spending a few $1,000s does not appeal to them. So for them, they might want to buy collectibles because that's where their frugality comes in. That's their highest priority. On the other hand, there might be people that they really, really value experiences. So they're not going to be able to buy as many quote unquote collectible type items because they need to spend their money on travel experiences, things where they're meeting new people, going to new places, trying new food. So it's really just prioritizing. Not many of us, we're not Jeff Bezos. We can't have it all, right? In terms of buying everything, and not even he can have it all. No one can have it all. But, there just has to be some sense of priorities. So that would be my advice in terms of the budget and frugality. Really determine where your priorities lay. Maybe it's one less trip so you can send your child to a private school. I don't know what it is, whatever it is for you. Maybe you love designer clothes, okay, well, where can you cut back in other areas that aren't as important to you? How can you get those designer clothes for a lower cost? There's one. So, it's just asking those questions. And I have at times had to just pause and ask those questions and really look in the mirror, really look at the checking. Sometimes I look at the credit card statement and you just really take a look at it, put notes on it, highlight it, take it out, look at it and say, oh my gosh, I'm spending a lot of money on XYZ category. Is that really where I want my energy to go? Maybe the answer is yes. Maybe you're a foodie and it just means so much to you eating at nice restaurants. Well, in that case, that's fine. You're going to spend more money on that. You're going to be cutting back, though, on other things to afford that priority. So I would just say, take out the statement, go through it line by line, take a hard look, and then ask yourself, where can I cut back? Where are my highest priorities being met? Right? And that's how it goes. Thanks a lot for joining me. Catch you all next time. Keep taking care of yourself, keep taking care of each other and building wealth. Bye-bye.